Inflation hitting a new 40-year high in March at 8.5%.
This is very troubling. You are talking about the highest inflation in more than 40 years.
But President Biden is deflecting any responsibility for the spike in inflation, instead blaming Vladimir Putin's brutal invasion of Ukraine.
I'm not going to wait to take action to help American families. I'm doing everything within my power by executive orders to bring down the price and address it.
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Inflation, now running at more than 6%, is the #1 concern for most Americans as prices rise from the gas pumps to the grocery store shelves.
Already slammed by soaring prices, now getting hit even harder. New numbers showing inflation surging to its fastest pace in nearly 40 years.
Gas is up 51%. Beef is up 20%.
Price hike excuse as we watch 40-year high inflation grip America. Now,
inflation climbing throughout the year, dragging President Biden's approval down with it as the supply chain broke down and businesses passed higher labor costs onto consumers.
Dominated by rising inflation that just won't quit. The Labor Department says consumer prices were 8.5% higher in March compared to a year ago. That is the biggest jump in more than 40 years, led by a huge increase in gas prices.
But Joe Biden is still focused on blaming Vladimir Putin for everything instead of his own failed policy.
The war, but soaring gas prices and persistent inflation have created major problems for the president and his party as they head into the midterms.
For President Biden, the outlook is pretty grim. War abroad, anxiety at home, and inflation at its highest level in 40 years. Biden's message to Americans struggling with rising prices for food, for gas, and just about everything else, he feels it too. He understands your pain.
Where I grew up in a family like many of you, where the price of a gallon of gasoline went up, it was discussion at the kitchen table.
Those words echo the message of the last Democratic president who faced the toxic mix of unrest abroad and high inflation, Jimmy Carter.
I promised you a president who is not isolated from the people, who feels your pain and who shares your dreams.
Biden has called it a Putin price hike, but most Americans aren't buying it.
It's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.